Hey everybody, it's Smashing Game Time. We are three brothers who go through the back catalogs of gaming's yesteryears. I am your host, Nick. Caddy corner bottom to me is Jake. Hi, Jake.
Hello, that's me. I'm Jake.
And then to my left, that is Josh over there.
Moist, shiny folds.
Oh no, no. Today we're doing 2012 Q2, but before we get into that, just a reminder, we are part of the Trident network of podcasts. Trident family of podcasts. Go check out some of our siblings. Also, rate and review us wherever you get your podcasts, especially Apple and Spotify. We'll take as many stars as you'll give us, but we prefer 5. And then also, we are everywhere that you can find your podcast. So we are on Apple, Spotify, Google, Anchor. There's like 20 million of them. So just if it has podcasts, it has us, you guys. So go check us out over there.
Spotify?
Guys, what is Spotify? Yeah, guys, what has everybody been up to?
Yeah. I'll go first to this question. I'll take. So I've been just streaming multiverses. I just got back from working 12 days in a row, so that sucked. But I know with my streams and my content, I've actually been doing been getting a lot of traffic lately. Like I know just yesterday alone, I gained like 15 followers. Are you doing
YouTube videos also? I know you're doing TikTok and Twitch. Are you doing YouTube also right now?
Yes, I'm doing YouTube. I've actually developed a cheat sheet on Google Sheets that like is pretty optimal when it comes to helping players decide what like perks and characters to use against their matchup. So, and I'm the only one that has made that so far that I know of from research. So I'm kind of like trying to showcase that in a video, and
it's awesome.
Invite people coming to get it. Yeah, it's kind of it's pretty big.
And how are your YouTube numbers? I always feel like it's easier to get numbers on YouTube compared to everything else.
So I've actually been talking to some people that do YouTube are more experienced with YouTube. It's all about making a video better than your competition. If you really want to be a content creator, you have to make a video. You either want to be the first, or your video wants to be so much better than the competition. So right now it's kind of just throwing videos in the air, but I've actually talked to a buddy of mine who helped me out in like titles and thumbnails and all that shit and the aspects of being a content creator. So I'm actually gonna get that stuff going.
You see, and I had a thought about that because I was thinking about getting into Age of Empires 4, like completing the campaign and then getting into multiplayer. I know I'm ass at RTS. But I was thinking about like, maybe I'll do a spin. Like, I think there's a guy who does like Bronze League for StarCraft or something like that. So I was like, what if that was the series? Like, hey, this guy's bad at Age of Empires. Let's see if he learns anything from this game, and just kind of building off of that.
Yeah, because like I guess it's more work than I thought it would be because you kind of like you have to like do research and like no one's done this, let's do this, or this is done already a bunch of times, but can you do it better? Like, did they miss anything?
Well, it's like your buddy said, you're either first or you got to be really good, and if you have neither of those going for you, then you got to be really creative or really funny.
Yeah, that and like just other people having like more I guess followers, more subs that helps them, because I know being a pro player has its perks. Because like people are just gonna follow you. It's like, oh, this guy's really good. Let's see what he's doing. Because once you're a pro player in any game, you're kind of set in whatever content you make.
Well, and even just like making a name for yourself, even if it doesn't bring in the numbers, like people becoming aware of you in the community.
Yeah.
Like, oh, hey, that's Jakey Boy. Jakey Boy might average like 6 viewers on Twitch, but everyone knows who that is. So like if like all the usual suspects aren't streaming, everyone might go like, hell, even like Top Dog might be like, I'm not streaming right now, but let's go watch Jake. And that might be enough to like drive more traffic your way. It's just it's crazy because like that's like it in life in general is like building that community aspect of it, and like within a niche. It's just that's something that I got into over the pandemic with Iron Harvest, like being a part of a small community and learning like how niche communities work, and like learning like the not the political side of it, but like you get what I'm saying.
Yeah,
it's fun.
Josh,
it's fun. Josh, what have you been up to? You're quiet.
Oh, I've been working, but I don't remember if it was last week or the week before. somebody was talking about Legacy of Goku.
Nick.
So okay, that was you. Okay, so I was like, okay, I'm definitely gonna add that on my, I'm gonna add the first 3 to my retro arc. Well, I found out, and I don't know how I didn't know this already, but I found out retro arc has an organization outside of it. There's a community that builds achievements for older games, and it actually ties in. It's like when you're playing the game, you unlock achievements. So I actually went through and played Legacy of Goku 2 all the way through, and 100%ed it.
Did you play the first one?
I have to go back to play the first one. I
Okay.
was doing it as a test run, and then I ended up getting sucked into it.
Okay, because the first one's rough in some parts.
Yes, I know. Let's see. So I don't think this. I think it's when you get to Namek. I think that's when it got harder, right?
Well, and there's no there's a lot of like quality of life stuff that they did for 2 that made it so much better. Like one,
The
you're
flying
very
mechanic.
one, you're very slow.
Yeah.
I think there's some things that take like energy that shouldn't be taking energy, especially since you're fucking Goku.
Yep. So I have to go back and play it still. I know it's gonna be rougher, but I also know it's also a shorter game compared to 2, and especially compared to 3.
Yeah, one was definitely a test run.
But it's still a good game though. Like you gotta give it credit where credit's due.
Did they do the Garlic Jr. saga, or did they just skip right to?
They skipped right to, but they introduced like the animals you fight and everything are affected by the black mist.
That's okay. Oh man, I really hate that people skip over that Garlic Jr. saga. I really do. I feel
So
like
good.
I feel like it's one of those. Dragon Ball Z has the same issue that Stranger Things has, but Dragon Ball Z does it a lot better. Does it a lot better because Stranger Things is, oh, we're fucked. Where's 11? And Dragon Ball Z is, oh, we're gonna fight these guys off until Goku gets here.
Well, no, so okay, I agree up to an extent, especially in when they're on Namek.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Krillin, Vegeta, and Gohan basically fight off a majority of the Ginyu squad.
The Ginyu and what was that, Zebus or whoever
Deborah
the left hand.
Him, the guy who turns into a frog.
Yep.
Basically, or a giant frog. Yeah. So like you have all these fights, and then at one point even Goku's in the healing, and all of them are basically taking turns fighting Frieza.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, yes, Goku at the end still has to come in and save the day, but it wasn't like, they couldn't handle. Like they were they literally got Frieza into his final form before they're like, oh fuck, we're gonna die.
Well, and I think that's what I like so much about Garlic Jr. and Cell, is that Garlic Jr. there's no Goku. It's just them having to outsmart these guys and find a way to win. And then Cell, yes, there's Goku, but Goku takes a hint and steps aside and is like, nah, I'm gonna let these guys do this.
Yeah, you guys rely on me too much. So
that meme, you see that meme where like you see Gohan like getting his ass beat, he's like looking up, smile. I'm gonna look at that one.
That's why I like those two the best, and it's always a shame that they skip over Garlic Jr. What else you doing, Josh?
That's really been it. I've been just busy getting stuff done. I'm starting my next review. It's due in a couple days. It's Point and Click Adventure.
Can you talk about the game, or is it on?
I think I can talk about it. I don't remember actually.
Don't want you breaking the NDA. They're gonna break your knees.
Let me double check real quick. Hold on. We're gonna get there. Don't worry, guys. We'll keep talking.
Let him check. Nick, look at the meme. I put in the.
Oh, did you put a meme in? Let's see what it is. I do. I also have a review coming up, but I'll let Josh. Oh no! Oh, yep, there it is. That's my boy.
That's my boy. Okay, the site's not loading. Is it loading for you, Nick, by chance?
No, but so I owe a review for Midnight Fight Express, which going into it, I don't know. There's something wrong with me. I go into every game like ready to hate it. I'm like, oh, this is gonna suck. I'm gonna hate this. But Midnight Fight Express, basically, it's Arkham Asylum with all the beat 'em up aspects of it, but
Okay.
it's like isometric, top down. You're pulling these crazy moves. You'll pick up a random gun and shoot somebody, and it's just violent, and it's so brisk. And only one guy only one guy was on this design team to make this, and it's really good. I'm really enjoying it. I got to finish that review, but that's the one I'm working on. Do you see it? Do you see what you're working on?
Did I see what I was working on?
Yeah, what did you find the game?
Oh yeah, I found it. Yeah, so I can't talk about it because it's already out. Like No Other, The Legend of the Twin Books.
Is that the one with the old guy?
Yes.
It's like cartoony looking.
Yes, it reminds me of the other game I did with the twins. I can't remember the name of that one.
Twins
as far as
Basil.
design,
Twins.
but just a different. It kind of reminds me actually of if you ever played the 90 parsecs or what's the other one called? Sorry, 60 parsecs or 60 seconds. They're like story-based games where like you have 60 seconds to like gather material around your house and get down to your bomb shelter before the world's nuked.
That
And
sounds
then
really cool. I've never heard of that.
Yeah, it's really good. They have it on Steam Deck. It's called 60 Seconds Reanimized and 60 Parsecs, which is a sequel, but it's in space.
Okay.
Really fun games, but this one is just a point and click, and it looks like an interesting story. I haven't actually gotten a chance to grab it and play it yet. I need to actually do that here. So
there's a lot of point and clicks coming through the website right now.
Yes, and I wonder if there was a big, there was like a event that hosted all these or something.
No, you know what it was? Norco and Citizen Sleeper came out, and everyone else was like, "Oh, we need to put our point and click adventures out."
I can do that.
I can do that. I can do this real. Let me grab these assets from Unity and throw a game together in like a week.
I can fix that.
I can fix that. So on my end, I've been playing Midnight Fight Express. That review's coming this week. It's a lot of fun. If you're into the Batman, Spider-Man, beat 'em up styles, I think that's something people would enjoy. There's different tech trees to build up different abilities. It's got a cheesy 80s action story, but it's not voice acted, so everything you have to read, and it kind of breaks up the action. I just skip all that shit. There's like a little drone that leads you. You're a guy who you don't know who you are, but you apparently ran with this gang that you're beating up, and you're getting revenge on them for, I think it's a dead kid. And like I said, I skip all the story stuff. I'm just there to beat people up. Like one mission is like you walk into a bathroom and there's just a bunch of guys waiting for you, and you have to beat them all up. And then you exit the bathroom. That's the end of the level. There's like 40 levels. You get a grade after every level. Okay. A lot of replayability. It's only $20. I'm having a lot of fun. More in the review. And then what else did I do? I broke Boyfriend Dungeon.
How did you break Boyfriend Dungeon?
I broke Boyfriend Dungeon. So I had it on Xbox, and then it got taken off. So I was like, all right, I'll buy it on Steam, whatever. Bought it. Been playing through it. Got back to where I was. And so the thing I did is I picked my favorite weapon, and I romanced them all the way, because I'm just a gentleman. That's what I do. And once you romance a weapon all the way, I believe this is the case with every weapon. Someone let me know if I'm wrong. You get this stone that doubles the love experience with all the other weapons. So then I took another weapon, went into the dungeon, went a few floors. We had such a good run that I had leveled them up like 4 or 5 times. And every time you level up, that sets up a new date. And then so I don't need to deal with him to the dungeon anymore. Like I get random text from him when we're going to go on our next date. And then the story, the texts are all just very lopsided. Like, excuse me, I'll go to do something, and then like text will come through that should have already came through. Excuse me. And I think I broke the game just because everything was so fluid before with the text, and now everything's like coming in choppy. And the text was always my least favorite part of the game. I'd rather just have like the in-person conversations.
Yeah, I still didn't like the creepy texts that they were sending you, some of them.
That guy was creepy. He finally admitted to stalking me, which I knew he was doing. I knew he was stalking me. Like I saw him outside a window on another date, and I was like, that dude's stalking me. I can just feel it. And he makes weapons, but he tried to make a weapon that was also a person, and it looks like a freaking zombie or something. It's scary. But yeah, I'm still having a good time with Boyfriend Dungeon, even though I broke the game. Otherwise, that's really all I've been playing this week. All right, so we're doing 2012 Q2 today. We've also got a speed cap that Josh is. It's Asura's Wrath. Asura's Wrath, right?
Asura's Wrath.
Asura's Wrath.
Something like that, yeah.
So Josh will be taking on Jake in that later on. But first, we're going to do 2012 Q2. What do you guys say we get into it?
Let's do it.
Yeah.
Let's do it. Q2. All right, first up, April 13th. One of my favorites. This is Fez. You know what? If you had asked me like years ago, I would have said I thought this was a I thought this was like an Xbox Summer of Arcade title. I would have been
Honestly,
wrong.
I would have agreed with you. I would have agreed with you
Yeah.
though, because it definitely had that vibe of it. I felt like it was pretty close to summer, and it was a really good game.
So for those who don't know, Fez is a 2D platformer, but it has that you can rotate the platforms, so it's kind of cube-like. It's from it's Phil Fish, right? Phil Fish was the guy who did this.
Yes.
I believe
Yes.
it was
Yeah.
almost a one-man army. If you look up Phil Fish, he's kind of a character, kind of an asshole. It's a fun game. It's one of those notebook games. If you don't know what I mean by notebook games, it has all this weird shit where like there's a made up language in the game and you kind of need a notebook to like write down the different shit so you can kind of track the letters, different puzzles, different mysteries around it. And you're just running around collecting these little cubes from this world that broke up. A lot of fun. Soundtrack is banging, which I believe you guys remember the movie It Follows.
Yes.
I believe the same guy did the soundtrack for this. Very synth heavy, very mysterious.
Rich Freeland?
Maybe I believe that to be the case. If it wasn't the same guy, then they were influenced by Fez. I remember reading something after watching It Follows and them mentioning Fez directly. But this game was also featured on Indie Game the Movie. So Indie Game the Movie had followed the developers of what's the Braid, and then they did Super Meat Boy, and then they followed this. So they followed a game that had released Braid, they followed a game that was getting ready to release Super Meat Boy, and they were following a game that was kind of like in development hell in a way. And this was a game that was having issues. There were some bugs. I would say they were game breaking if I'm remembering correctly. There's that if you're watching the video, there's that language you'd have to learn. Jake's taking notes right now. I can see it. This is one I 100%ed eventually.
And Nick, you are correct. It is the same guy who produced the soundtrack for It Follows.
I knew it. It's so good. It's so good. If you haven't seen, play Fez and then watch It Follows right after, and you are in for a treat.
Yeah, he even says it was his sophomore album or soundtrack.
Oh, they're both so good, and he does such a good job of evoking fear and mystery in both of them, because It Follows kind of shares some vibes that Fez has. It's just a fun game. I'm talking a lot. I feel like I want to give you guys the floor as well to talk about Fez.
I mean, you really hit the note. I mean, it's on its own, it's a good game, but compared to majority of especially AAA titles, you basically hit the nail on the head. Like it has its moments where it sticks out. It has a great soundtrack. I mean, just the idea of being able to rotate every area like it's a cube. That was honestly, when do you see that?
Has anyone else done that? I don't think anyone else has done that since.
No.
It's crazy that didn't become a thing.
And if I remember correctly, there was a secret Easter egg. We had to do like a certain combination, wasn't there?
I think the game still has some. I think all of the game's secrets haven't been unlocked, because every once in a while people will talk about the black monolith, and nobody knows what it does. And people are still playing around with it. I think there's probably a community out there still working out what exactly you're supposed to do. And yeah, they play with some of the this glitch ethos that you're seeing right now. Like he broke that cube and it restarted the game. Yeah, and it's crazy. There was supposed to be a sequel and it got canceled because the guy doing it has a big ass head and just canceled it. I want to read more into that. I'm being flip right now about it, but that's cool. I didn't realize the developer's logo is on that drum set. But it was a fun game. I have it re-downloaded on Steam. It's one I keep meaning to get back to and do another playthrough. Just haven't found the time. I put this up there with Braid, Castle Crashers, Limbo, and what's that super giant game that we talked about the other day? The one with the one with the narrator.
Bastion.
This is up there with those as like the pillars of like Xbox Arcade.
Yeah, I like I said, and it's easily mistaken to be one because it's just that good, in my opinion.
Oh yeah, as a Summer of Arcade. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Like like if you asked me a few weeks from now, I'd be like, "Hey, what was your favorite Summer of Arcade?" My dumb ass would still probably say Fez. Anything else on Fez, gentlemen?
No, that's good.
No, not much.
All right, moving on to April 25th. Now this is a weird one. So this is The Walking Dead episode 1, A New Day. So you're like, oh, are you guys gonna bring up every episode? Are you guys gonna bring up every episode of season 1? No, we're just gonna do this one. This was the oh, not Dead Space. Sorry. This was the Telltale game that did gangbusters for them. This is the Telltale game that led to them doing all the IP that you know, love, and hate.
I hate it.
Hate it. This basically the simplest version of this. It's a point-and-click adventure. There's a little more action in it than most point-and-click adventures because there's some shooting, there is some running from zombies. Basically, you were on a prison bus that crashed during the zombie apocalypse starting out in Georgia. You play Lee, who is probably, I want to say, one of the greatest characters in The Walking Dead in general. I'm not a big Rick Grimes guy. I'm not a big fan of the guy with the crossbow that everybody likes that has his own motorcycle show. Daryl. I'm not a big Daryl fan. But Lee, Lee basically finds this little girl and is like in charge of her because her parents are obviously dead. Spoiler alert, they got eaten by zombies. And it's basically him just teaching this little girl how to survive. And it's funny because, a year later, The Last of Us comes out. So you start to, right. So it's like, oh yeah, this was like The Last of Us before The Last of Us.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay, so I've only played the first season. So I played the first 5 episodes. It was fine. Just not my cup. It's not my cup of tea. And even then, it's almost redundant because at this point, this is what, season 3 or 4, I think, at the time for the show.
2012, season 2 or 3, yeah. Because first season was 2010, but it was a shorter season. Right.
So at this point, people are starting to it's starting to climax, but also heading down. It's at the peak almost. It's good still.
I'd say The Walking Dead didn't really peak until Glenn with the dumpster stuff, and that was around season 5 or 6.
Okay,
I'd say people, because season 1 it was a test run. It was 6 episodes. There wasn't really much going on, and then season 2 was the farm stuff, which people liked. Yep. But it was okay. And then season 3 was the governor, which was like the first major baddie everyone looked forward to.
Mm-hmm. So maybe so I'm thinking it's the season where they introduce what's his name with the bat?
Negan, 5 or 6. Well, see, the thing they did with the governor is what The Walking Dead has done that I don't know if I agree with is they have the baddies last more than a season. So the governor, in a normal season of TV, the governor's stuff would have been done by the end of season 3. But they decided to pal that along into season 4, and then I think he was gone by the halfway of season 4.
Yeah, because he ended up. Spoiler alert for those who haven't seen it and want to see it. He's the one who leads the charge onto the prison, isn't he?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So he gets at the end of season 3. I think he gets excommunicated from his community, and he joins another community, and he turns them into a militia, and just basically rolls in a tank and is like, "Hey, we're here for the prison," and then he chops Herschel's head off. And then, that's season. Season 4 went into some places, and I don't think people really got tired of The Walking Dead until about 5 or 6. Right around the time Negan came, because people were excited for Negan, and then it feels like the Negan stuff just kind of petered out.
Yeah, it kept on going. It was it went from season 5 to season 8 or whatever, and
so the two things, and I know we've gotten away from the game, but who cares? You're gonna play this game or you're not. I compare The Walking Dead to The Boys and Dexter. What The Boys and Dexter both do really good is they set up the season's baddie real early. And they might, some stuff might drag, it happens. Dexter was very guilty of this, especially season 5 and 6. They set up the baddie, but at least the baddie is wrapped up for the most part by the end of the season. Now there might be some strings left over. So Trinity had a long tail when it came to that show. Trinity was still coming up by the end, by the new season they had done. But like Trinity had that loose end with his son in Oklahoma or wherever it was, who had accidentally killed somebody else. But at least that villain was dead. Like, there may have been issues later on, but that villain was dead. The Boys, spoiler for The Boys, season 2, what's her name? Stormfront, basically defeated by the end of season 2. She was still there in season 3, but it was just little crumbs of her were there. It wasn't like she was this big issue.
So speaking of Negan, Jeffrey Dean Morgan is actually going to The Boys in season 4.
That's going to be
It's
awesome.
gonna be so good.
That'll be all. He's really good. He was also in Shameless right around the same time he got into Walking Dead, and he was really good in Shameless also.
He's been playing a lot of parts, even parts before I even knew who he was, because I didn't really know who he was before Negan. But if you like watch like old movies or shows, you see him, and I'm just like, oh shit, I didn't recognize him.
He's one of those He's one of those guys that when you go back and look at stuff, you're like, oh wow, you were in this, and then you see him, or like you're watching something old that you used to love, and you see him, and you're like, oh my god, you were in this? What?
Yeah.
That's how I.
Sorry.
Sorry. No, go ahead.
I was gonna say back to the game real quick. Spoiler alert: this game won Game of the Year at the Game Awards this year.
Yeah, it did.
Which baffles me because there are a few titles today that we're going to talk about today that I'm like, really, not that. This is fine. It's really good character work, but it just by the end of it, you're just like, ugh.
I really think the only reason why it won Game of the Year is because The Walking Dead was like up. It was like one of the most watched shows at the time.
They did it for the SEO.
Yeah.
They did it for
Honestly,
the search engine optimization.
So, Telltale, if you guys didn't know this, before this, obviously, like no one really knew who Telltale was. They were doing like Sam and Max games, a couple of them. They did
they had Back to the Future.
Back to the Future. They did one other. I can't remember one more IP on there, but like they weren't big enough to be like this huge company that they later on because of The Walking Dead became.
Well, yeah. After The Walking Dead, they got Game of Thrones. They got Guardians of the Galaxy. There were Borderlands, Batman. But they flew too close to the sun. They took all this on, and then they ended up womp womp.
Yeah,
they're back now, but like not to the extent that they were.
No, I'd say this is what lifted their careers like way up there, and then they just like you said, they got too close to the sun. Icarus time.
And I think this game suffers the same way the show suffers. It's the cycle. It's we found a safe place. Oh, it's not safe anymore. Hey, we found a safe. Oh, it's not safe anymore. We found it's not safe anymore.
You know how you fix that?
Tell me.
Free running advice for anybody out there. You fix that. You make the one place so secure that you're like, no, what? We're going to start branching out and securing these other places, and all those places start having issues. That's how you fix that.
It sounds like you just played a Walking Dead game that you saw an advertisement for. That's not actually the gameplay.
Yes.
Anything else on The Walking Dead?
God damn it, no. But while we're transitioning to the next one, Jake, you saying that reminds me of all the videos now, the ads of all the like, hey, do you know of all those other game ads that, show you gameplay that's not actually the part of the game? Well, this game, what you're seeing right now is actually it. And it's like, no, it's not.
No, it's not. Not at all.
No, it's not.
There's someone on Twitch who plays those ad games, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, there is.
It's a fun, good time, I'm sure. Sorry, go ahead.
Okay, I was going to say, there was a video, because you know how like you have like those cheesy ads of someone like pretending they're playing the game, whatever. Mm-hmm. Well, there was a video of like someone like watching that and they're like, yeah, I just did this. I know exactly. It's not the gameplay at all. I just get paid for it. I don't give a shit.
Moving on, May 15th, Diablo 3, back when Blizzard was still a babe in our eyes. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Oh man, how the mighty have fallen. It's crazy to me. Blizzard, like from their inception all the way up until like what 2015. When did Overwatch come out? 2016.
No, that was 2015.
2015. Yeah. Whatever it was, like they were like in everyone's eye they could do no wrong. But meanwhile, you had all this shady shit going on in the background. For those who don't know what Diablo 3 is, it's a dungeon crawler. Diablo 2 was a very big hit for them back in 2000, so of course 3 was going to happen. This one's a little more button mashy than the other ones that were more turn-based. This one also came with an auction house at the start that broke the economy, and people were actually making real money off of it. It's kind of funny.
Didn't they have to shut down the server for a couple of weeks to figure it out?
I think they shut down the auction house. I think the game you could still play it, but you couldn't sell anything.
Okay.
Yeah.
But it's funny because now you look at NFTs and you look at all that stuff and you're like, Was this the thing that people looked at and were like, we can make some money off this?
So at the start of this game, like everyone kind of was just like, Diablo 2 was so much better and all that stuff. And the game slowly got better, especially when the DLC came out, Reaper of Souls.
Mm-hmm.
I think it made it better that way too. But it's still, Diablo 2 is still a favorite. I mean, they made a remastered version of Diablo 2 recently.
Well, and the fact that now that 4 is right around the corner and people like have their rose tinted glasses talking about it's crazy because the fucking internet, something comes out. Oh, I hate it so much. This is so bad. I don't like it. And then like the next thing gets ready to come out and they're like, oh, the last thing was actually really good. I don't think I'm gonna like this new thing.
Well, so I really think it's because at the time you're playing it, you're thinking it's so stupid, like the last one was better. Because think about it, it's every single game out there. People did it to Modern Warfare 2. People did it to Battlefield 4. People did it to look at Overwatch 2, for example, even with it being the beta. People were bitching how terrible it is. I even said it was terrible because, comparing it to 1 looks and plays so much better than 2 does.
Some people said it was the same game.
Some people say exactly. So, at the moment, if you really do think about it, I think over time people start to really appreciate what it really was or is.
Yeah, and people are just you're never gonna please everybody, and people are gonna be coming in from different directions. Like, so the people who hated it might disappear off the face of the earth, and then then the people who love it become like the loud group, and they're like, how could you butcher my boy? I love Diablo 3. Diablo 4 looks like shit. Like,
and they're just and they're just casual players. Like they don't.
Well, and then I've learned so much from being part of a Discord for a game and just seeing like a random person pop in, game sucks or game dead, and you're like, get this motherfucker out of here.
Dude, I can't stand those people like in like big Discords that like randomly will just say one thing that's just obnoxious, and you're like, okay, this guy's trolling. He's trying to get a reaction out of somebody.
Well, it's funny because I think most game communities, most of them, a good majority of them, would probably be over more on the good, nicer side of people. It's just like when you have a couple asshats come out of the woodworks and like stir up shit, it makes everyone else look like a dumbass. Just my 2 cents. No, Iron Harvest has had a few bad eggs pop into its Discord, including one that posted a bunch of porn under the stream channel.
That's funny.
Oh, we reported that shit real quick because it was someone posted a video. I had streamed like the night before, so my head was right there, and then under me was just somebody getting railed. It's like,
by chance, was it okay? So I keep seeing this meme pop around. It's obviously from a porno, but
God damn it.
It's one girl sitting there playing a video game, and then you can only see the head of the other girl, and she's like, you obviously get railed because you see her legs up and shit.
It wasn't that one. No, it wasn't even it was actual videos.
Oh, it was actual
videos, actual GIFs, and it's like, where did you get these GIFs?
Now, did they finish? I think they did.
No, I hopped into the VIP section of the chat, and I was like, hey, there's porn in our streaming or whatever it is, and they're like, oh, we'll get that. we'll scrub it. And then they
definitely made a copy.
And then they probably watched it for a few minutes and then scrubbed it. Like, tasteful. I'm saving this for later.
Yeah, they definitely made a copy of it. It's sitting in someone's hard drive right now.
I need the source for this.
But Diablo 3, it's a lot of fun. You can play with your friends. Get in it before 4 comes out. I wouldn't even check out the 2 remake.
RIP PvP combat.
No. Let's see. Coming up next, May 15th. Same day, May 15th, Max Payne 3. Fun fact about Max Payne 3 for me is that it was the first PS3 game that I beat. This was the summer I traded my 360 for PS3. This game was fun. So this was the first Max Payne not from Remedy. Rockstar did this one on their own.
Yep.
For those who don't know, it's a third-person shooter with bullet bullet time, so like you can do slow motion. This one has nothing to do with Max's family or Max's love life. This is Max working as a security guard for a rich family. Two of the young siblings get kidnapped. Hey, this is another Deluxe 345 video. Good to see him still going.
The last one was too, by the way.
It was? Oh, nice.
Yeah.
I love his work.
He does a lot of these. He doesn't talk and it's good quality. So thanks, Deluxe.
Because people are tired of commentary creators. We say on a podcast. This game was a lot of fun. So Max like goes through hell to save this family, and I'm gonna spoil it because it's a 10-year-old game at this point. But he finds out it's all for nothing. Like the kidnapping was set up by the kids, and it's just gone wrong. It's basically Fargo. It's Fargo, but you're in Mexico.
It's just a prank, bro.
It's a prank. They were just gonna give us money. And there's actually a really cool scene at the end of the game. You're going through an airport. I believe it's to save one of the last siblings that's not dead, and the music from the commercial and the trailer starts playing as you're running through the airport, gunning guys down. It's good. Turn your game off. I mean, you've seen how many times. Look, I'm gonna throw myself back and shoot.
And you're gonna fall, and that's the end of the podcast.
So then, So this was, like I said before, this was not Remedy because Rockstar retained the rights to Max Payne. And this was the last Max Payne game. I think Remedy might mention Max Payne in their Control universe that they're building. But otherwise, it's still in-house at Rockstar right now, and they're doing nothing with it.
Have you guys seen the Mark Wahlberg Max Payne?
Yes.
Bits. I might have caught like a bit of it when it was on an HBO channel a few years ago.
Yeah, it's weird.
It's not good.
It's weird, but I think what the weird part is when they brought in Mila Kunis.
I was gonna say, wasn't Mila Kunis in that as well?
Yeah,
she is the love interest in that one.
I don't know if I believe that. I don't know if I believe her as Mona Sachs.
The only thing I don't understand with the whole movie was the whole angels aspect.
The Valkyrie.
The Valkyrie, yeah.
Yeah, they call that drug the Valkyrie or whatever, and basically when you see it, you see Valkyries, and that's like, I guess that's when the slow motion part comes in because he uses the Valkyrie to go slow motion.
That's the power of the Valkyrie.
Yeah, because doesn't he end up like taking a vial of it before he goes? Is it the police station or the I can't remember which building it is, but he takes it before he goes in, and it's just pretty much like slow-mo back and forth.
Yeah, I think the best part was like in that that movie is when he's in the bathroom and the guy's like, "You a cop?"
Mark Wahlberg has the one tone in his voice like, "Do I look like a cop?" Maybe.
Can you guess how many movies? Can you guess how many movies he played as a cop?
That sounds like a good quiz question.
Neither can I. Let's move on.
I would guess like 3 or 4.
I
think it's more than that. Yeah, I think it's.
I would say like 15 or 20 almost.
I would have to, because is he a cop and shooter?
I
Ex-military.
don't know.
He's not a cop.
Shooter will go down as the movie that I've seen like the last 10 minutes of more than anything, because it's always on like a channel before like a big show comes on. It's like, the last 10 minutes of Shooter. I guess I'll watch this.
You watch TV?
I did for Better Call Saul a few weeks ago, and guess what? Shooter was on before that.
Of course it was.
This was a fun game. I think you can still get it on Steam. Anyone who loves third-person shooters, I think this is a great one. I'm sad you guys have nothing to say about Max Payne 3.
I never played it. I kind of got over that kind of.
No, I mean, Nick, you just said it all once again with Fez. Like, you basically hit the nail. Like, they're like, if I remember correctly, there was multiplayer, but there was nothing to talk about multiplayer as a standard shooter.
This is when everyone thought they had to have multiplayer.
Yeah.
Like, this was around the time that everyone was like, we might have to get rid of single player and just all focus on multiplayer. And then everyone started focusing on both, and it was shit.
You had those moments where games had no single player. So like Black Ops 3 or 4 had no single player.
I think that was like 2013, 2014.
Yeah, it's a few years. Yeah. But I mean, even with this, like with their DLC, I mean, I think if I remember correctly, almost every single one of them was pushed back like 6 months or something, weren't they?
Maybe. Well, this was still a time where like multiplayer was shipping with the game. Like we weren't not like now where like a game will come out and they're like, yeah, Forge is gonna be next
2 years down the road.
Forge and It's online multiplayer for the campaign year from now.
So I was all game for games coming out as betas, just for like testing purposes. But now it's going to play where people are like, yeah, we're going to release the single player. Co-op's not available for 2 years down the road. Multiplayer, we'll get into DLC for 5 years. This could be a 20-year game. Like, this is the plan.
If everything's a beta, nothing's a beta.
Yeah, nowadays everything's gonna be a beta, and then they have us players, us consumers, be the lab rats and tell you what's wrong with it.
Oh, our game's shitty? Well, tell us about it.
Early access can work if you do it right, like Hades did, and it cannot work like the numerous other companies that are trying to utilize it. We've got one more game here, June 26th, an all-timer, Spec Ops: The Line. This was from what was the studio behind this one, Josh?
Jaeger Development.
This is a great game. I remember this might have been the last game I rented from a Blockbuster. Speaking of Blockbuster earlier.
Yeah, Jesus.
R.I.P. Blockbuster.
R.I.P. Blockbuster.
So I think this goes up there with BioShock is like one of the best, spoiler alert, one of the best twists in a game. And so I had read Heart of Darkness, which is the book that this is loosely based on, like theme-wise, and then played this. And so my mind was doubly blown when I got to the twist.
It's okay, so all in all, I think it's a fantastic game. Like, am I saying like it's my favorite game to play of all time? Like, I'm gonna go back every 2 months to play it? No. But is it definitely a game that it will forever stick in my head? Yes. It is such a good game. Like you said, the twist ending definitely like blows your mind because it's fantastically done.
The gameplay is okay. So for those who don't know, this is a third-person shooter, squad-based. It kind of feels like it would be a Tom Clancy game. If it was at like Ubisoft, it feels like they would have slapped Tom Clancy's name on this.
Yeah, for sure.
Yep.
I remember the shooting's okay. I think the squad part was a real standout for this, if I'm remembering correctly. Like the squad, you could actually have them do things pretty handedly, and it wasn't like you weren't like running into them doing shit that they weren't supposed to be doing.
No, they definitely took like notes with like Gears of War, for example. Like Gears of War did a fantastic job with their stuff when you could tell them to do things. Where this just like, hey, we're gonna follow that because obviously it works.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's not any like dumb AI stuff or whatever.
Yeah, and so this is set in the desert of Dubai. It's if you're watching the video, it's a war zone. It's a war zone, and you're sent in there to, I believe it's to rescue a commander or to back up a commander.
No, I think not to rescue him, but like basically like he's gone rogue.
Oh, okay, so he's already gone rogue, and you're sent to save him.
So you're sent to like either like
or basically
capture him or stop him. And the whole time, like or this is the beginning, you're walking through, you're seeing like remnants of like what survived the huge storm afterwards, and like you have like all these refugees who are like basically like, get the fuck out of here, you caused enough problems, and they're like, no, we want to see our commander.
Well, because you go through a lot of the game thinking like all the atrocities that you're seeing are from the enemy.
Right, you find out really it was
the guy that you're going in for.
Conrad.
You're like, oh shit, it's this guy. And that was a big thing in Heart of Darkness. Like they're in Heart of Darkness, there's this guy on this boat, and I believe they're going to find this military base. It's been years. It's probably been 10 plus years since I read it. But like the whole time they're like speaking this guy up like he's this great, big, awesome guy. And then they get to where he is, and like there's all these atrocities. There's people in chains. It's just awful. And so I think this is definitely, and then there's the white phosphorus scene in this game that so I remember that like that part stuck with me. That part was tough. I think there's, and people don't put kids in games, but I think I remember there being a kid in that scene.
There's a couple, there's like, well, you see like the thermal image of it.
Yeah,
but
you see families and
yeah, you see all the families and the women and the children. I mean, yeah, it was really, really dark, but it's well done.
They didn't. I mean, there's a reason there aren't kids in the village in Resident Evil 4. Because they're like, yeah, you know what? People don't want this. But this is a game that questions autonomy and just player autonomy. It's like, hey, like, yeah, this all sucks, but you did it. You shot all these people. It's kind of like BioShock with the "Would you kindly," like. Did you do it because you wanted to, or did you do it because someone like does it matter? Because at the end of the day, you fucking did all this.
Right, because it actually, if I remember correctly, in the cutscene before the white phosphorus, you have to give the command to set it off, don't you?
Yeah, and I think it's because you think there's like large numbers of enemies on the other side of the door.
Right, you can't tell. You can't distinguish like who's who because it's like all not dark, but it's ambiguously like laid out to like they're all enemies, like they're ready to fight you.
Damn it! Am I about to replay Spec Ops: The Line?
You are. And plus, let's not forget the two endings, and my favorite being, spoiler alert, Walker sitting there when they're like surrender and he's like fuck that and he just starts unloading on him.
Jesus, it might be time for replay on this.
There better be a damn soundbite in this audio that says, "Gentlemen, welcome to Dubai."
Gentlemen, welcome to Dubai.
For that, the title has to be Jakey Boy, Welcome to Dubai.
Jake, welcome to Dubai. I'll see if I can find it, Jake. But
It's easy.
you're asking.
It's
You're
easy.
asking a lot of it. You're asking a lot of an already
All you
stressed
do
out
is just
podcast.
go to YouTube, convert it to MP4. Easy.
You send me the audio
So-
file and I'll do it.
So, fun fact with this one,
I don't get paid enough for
Jaeger,
that.
the company who made Spec Ops,
Mhm.
it also made that new shooter, The Cycle Frontier.
I don't think I've seen that one.
It's on Steam. It's a free game. Basically, it's kind of like Escape from Tarkov to an extent.
I thought you were going to tell me that they also made Boyfriend Dungeon. Like, wow, they're so versatile.
Fun
Same
fact.
guys that made.
From the team that brought you Spec Ops: The Line. Date these weapons.
Gentlemen, welcome to my asshole.
Welcome to Dubai. All right. Who's ready for some news?
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
Read all about it. Latest football scores. Morning paper. Morning Star. Paper, mister?
It's time for old news. All right, short week here. Let's see what Josh has up on the board. All right, May 2nd through the 5th, Korean Esports Association on Gamut, Blizzard
On
Entertainment
Gamut.
and GOM TV announced the introduction of StarCraft 2 Wings of Liberty to professional competitions in South Korea, with StarCraft Brood War being completely phased out. And I'm sure the Brood War people loved that. They sound like a great bunch.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they were pissed. But yeah, no, just we're starting to see like obviously esports were, I mean, not well received as they are now. Like obviously when people started seeing people playing games professionally and making money, you had all these assholes who were like, "That's not a sport," and it's like, really? How? I mean, to an extent, it kind of is. It takes a lot of dedication, practice, and understanding. So
I mean-
we're starting to see this become an actual thing. Like it's actually like even now, like. You go to these huge arenas where they're playing these games.
Yeah, and what's cool nowadays is that like a buddy of mine, he's a coach for a esports team for a university.
Yeah,
and
so
like,
you're
now
not.
you see him in high schools too now. So
Yep.
like it's expanded.
Andy's school has it, and I'm like, dude, if I could be a coach there, like that'd be awesome. I'll teach these kids how to play Rocket League and CS:GO.
And they make okay money too. It's like
Yeah.
right around the coaching money wise.
Well, let's face it, it's a lot. It's probably a lot cheaper. And I'm just saying because I don't know what it would cost, but in my head, it has to be cheaper to build a gaming PC, 5 gaming PCs, than it is to give football pads to the whole entire team.
But you also have to think of the travel.
Yeah.
Travel's like one of the highest costs when it comes to any team.
Well, majority of professional sports can be done over the web.
Yeah, but not many people. There's been
I know,
from
I
my
know.
experience in tournaments. LAN tournaments are amazing, fun experience. You get so much free shit while you're there.
No,
Um,
so I agree with all that. But what I'm getting at is like for schools, like for high school or middle school, if you're doing that stuff, who cares if it's done via web? Like, yeah, I agree with you, but at the same time, it's like if you are going to eliminate things, you can eliminate travel. Like, yeah, make them travel to like their state or their, you know what I mean?
Well, I think the
Well-
web-based tourneys are really good, especially if you're doing like exhibitions and
Yeah.
just like preseason stuff. But yeah, I feel like a lot of the pros, a lot of the, I guess you would call the college, high school, middle school level amateur, they're gonna want the LAN because, I mean, there's gonna
so,
be
like,
issues
same
with
playing
web.
field. Yeah, same
Yeah,
playing
right.
field.
You want to level that
One
ping.
player is gonna have a better system online, maybe better internet than you do. So if you're at a LAN tournament, everyone's on the same playing field.
Well, like I said, it's just a workaround, but I'm not saying that's like the answer.
Yeah, and you
Yeah.
don't want to find out your school has the shittiest internet playing
Wait a
somebody
minute.
in Brood War.
And,
Wait a
and
minute.
like
Wait a minute. We only have 400 megabits, and they have 5. What the fuck?
and like yeah, there's gonna be more online tournaments than LAN tournaments, but LAN is always gonna be a better experience.
God damn it, George Washington Middle, up the internet speeds, damn it. It's crazy.
They're rocking 2070s. What the fuck?
It's crazy
Coach.
to think that everyone is like South Korea was the freaking starting point for everything. Like at least from the what is it, the RTS standpoint. I don't know, did MOBAs pick up there first and then get big over here?
Okay, so
Oh, here he comes. Here come the
here
history
we go,
books.
here we go. So depending on your game, you're gonna have a powerhouse country. You're gonna have a powerhouse like area. So for example, RTS, MOBAs like League of Legends. So you're not gonna find pros here. I mean, you will, but they're not gonna be like world tournament. Like you'll
No,
have
they're
like,
just
oh, this
gonna be-
guy that's best in. That's like even Counter Strike. Yes, America wants to be great in Counter Strike, but they're a laughing stock.
I mean, we know
Like
all
America
about guns over
is
here.
America is not the best in almost 90% of esports, and
Good.
it shows because like there's only been one team that's won a major in America against other teams that are on other countries, and that was Cloud9 back in I think 2018 or something like that, and they won because they had a really solid team, but their main competition got taken out before, and since then no one has won anything.
There's a
CS:GO
reason Organism stays in Korea and climbs the Korean ladder at the end of players, because he knows that's
Yeah,
where
like-
the people are.
Even League of Legends, no American team I think has gone out of groups in worlds.
Would you say America's best like genre would be like fighting games maybe?
Yes, fighting games probably the best they have, and then they have like other because there's random like 1 or 2 players in other countries that are they stand out too. But America has been probably their best genre is fighting game tournaments.
Should have an esports episode. And then ending up the news, E3 2012 at the Los Angeles Convention Center. Josh, any standouts for that one? Would this be the Xbox One, PS4 announcement?
This is the. No, this is not that one.
So what was this? Probably this feels like it would have been a slower E3.
It was. So this is where we got footage for like Halo 4, Call of Duty Black Ops 2, Resident Evil 6. Yeah, we had like
Can't wait for that.
we had like Castlevania Lords of Shadow 2 and Mirror of Fate. There was Kingdom Hearts Dream Drop Distance, The Amazing Spider-Man. Obviously, Spec Ops The Line. It was highly recommended at the time. Obviously, it was after, but they're still showing it.
Like they were showing it off to be like, hey, this is coming at the end of the month.
Yep. Borderlands
Hey.
2. Epic Mickey.
I remember
2?
people were really hyped for that, and then it just kind of petered out.
Crisis 3, Dead Space 3. From there, it's kind of like, The Last of Us, Beyond Two Souls, God of War Ascension for the PS3, PlanetSide 2. Remember how big that game was when it first came out?
Yep.
So yeah, there's a bunch in here, but really, really slow. Oh, my favorite, of course, I have to mention it, Metro Last Light. I was so pumped when I saw that.
Get this Metro Man out of here.
Hey,
Get
Metro.
him out of here.
The books are fantastic, and other than the last game, which I still haven't played completely, I enjoy Metro. Metro's a great series to play if you haven't played it.
It just, I've played the first one, and it feels like an early 2000s shooter.
Oh, everybody's favorite game, Aliens: Colonial Marines. Remember how shitty that game was?
Hey. Lay
Well,
off.
no,
I
that's
wanted more.
that's the one I think they got sued over.
Yeah, there's something. Was it something with the Unreal Engine? Were they playing around with an engine they weren't supposed to be playing with, or something like that? Or still, I don't know. Everyone's getting sued all the time.
No, I think this is the one where they're just like, you basically everything you promised us is a lie. Like, this is false advertisement.
Hey, there are no aliens in this Alien game.
Wait a minute.
All right. We've got, let's see. That was the news. Quick news week. Thanks for throwing that together, Josh.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Josh had today's meme. Josh, what time is it?
It's me time.
Me.
Time. He cut out
It's
too.
like
I love it.
PewDiePie.
All right. Josh, spell this. PewDiePie. Spell this meme out for us, please.
Bros for life until you disagree with me. So if you haven't played the first season, or even I think the second season of the Walking Dead Telltale games, basically, if you don't side with Kenny ever, he fucking hates you. You have to agree with him on every single aspect of life, otherwise you are nothing to him.
You're dead to me.
Yeah.
Hey Lee, what's your favorite kind of jelly? Strawberry or grape? I like grape. Well, Kenny, I like a strawberry. Dead to me.
I'm pretty sure if you piss him off enough in the first season, when you, spoiler alert, try to save him, he just lets go. He's just like, fuck you. I don't want to be saved by you.
Oh yeah, because I think he falls from that rooftop either way.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. And I say this jokingly. I'm pretty sure he goes slow-mo as you try to reach him. And he's just like this. As he's falling down.
Kenny's like, oh, there's strawberry jelly on your hands. I can't hold. But spoiler alert, they bring him back for season 2. I still hate you, Lee.
Lee, you son of a bitch.
Good meme, Josh. Good meme.
Thank you.
So, we have a speed cap coming up. We are going to take a quick, non-commercial break to get the shit set up. Josh is going to be taking on Jake with Asura's Wrath.
Azra's.
There it is. I knew I was close. So
We need to have one of those, like, they're taking each other on. You have that side-by-side photo. It's like UFC.
So, we're going to take a quick break, and we will be right back. All right, and we're back. As I said before, we have a speed cap today. Josh versus Jake. Josh will be speed capping. Nice. Be speed capping Asura's Wrath from the PS3. We talked about it last week. Gentlemen, what are the... So if Josh scores under 30, Jake, what does he have to do?
He has to host next week's podcast. He basically has to take over your spot.
Okay. And then, Josh, if you score over 30, what is Jake doing?
Jake has to write a love letter to the Netflix Resident Evil series.
The recently canceled Netflix Resident Evil
yes.
series. Okay.
We've heard the bad. I want to hear the good.
Nice. So for those joining us for the first time, Speedcap is basically just a speed run of the synopsis of the story. The Speedcapper will run through. They have 5 minutes, touching on any point that they can. The person who created the quiz, we don't have a proper name for them yet, but we'll just call them the Quizzer. Basically picked out 10 things they want mentioned specifically. And each of them is worth 5 points. You either get full credit or half credit. And Josh is trying to get above 30, and Jake's trying to hope that he doesn't get above 30.
And we legally call them the Quizmaster.
The Quizmaster. We'll look it up, but I like the Quizmaster, though. That's easier than Quizzer, because it hurts my tongue to say Quizzer. All right, gentlemen, are we ready?
Right as we're going to be.
All right, and for those, if you're not driving, we do have a PDF that you can follow at home to see what Josh has to hit. That'll be in the show notes. We'll also have a completed version in there as well if you just want to skip ahead and see who won. All right, I'm going to hit start. When you see the clock hit 5 minutes, you go ahead and start, Josh.
Is it appearing on the top?
Yeah, it'll be at top screen.
Okay.
All right.
All right, so we're going to take it at the very beginning. It takes place on a planet called Gaia. Basically, there are humans that live there, supernaturals, and I believe gods. So essentially, you are playing as one of the 8 generals who is like a god. His name's Asura, or Ashura, how do you want to pronounce it? Asura, whatever, thank you. Anyway, so you're one of the guardians. You're basically, so these godlike beings are kind of like cyborg, superhuman type deals. Anyway, so you're essentially there to fight off the Goma, I think is how you pronounce it. It's like Gohma, along with the other 7 generals. It's your mentor August. Then there's like Olga, Sergo. There's like so many people. Deus is like one of the main ones. August is one of the other ones. Yasha is like your rival / brother-in-law. Whatever. So essentially, you work for this emperor Strata, and you help protect the planet. So one day, Asura is meeting with his daughter and his wife and somebody else. I can't remember her name. You're basically going to see the emperor. You go into the emperor's chambers. You find him dead. You're accused of regicide. You try to escape. You go back to your wife and daughter. You find out they're basically kidnapped. Then once you find out where they're at, you go to them. The other generals hold like Mithra hostage. Actually, I think they killed your wife. I think this is the kill. And basically, Deus, the guy who actually killed the emperor, says, "Okay, well, you're the one who killed him. We're gonna kill you. Bye," and they kill you. Asura is then found in limbo. He then finds this golden, mysterious spider who basically is like, "Hey, I'm gonna help you remember who you are," and basically brings you back to life. So you come back to the mortal world and you find out that 12,000 years have passed. You find one of the other 12 generals who is just like, "Wait, what?" And he kind of he doesn't know why you're alive, but he explains that like you use the reason the emperor was killed is because they wanted the mantra. The mantra allows them to like basically become even more powerful by absorbing the souls of their believers. So you find out the world's now barren. There's barely any human tribes left. The Goma basically have destroyed the planet, basically, and you've basically end up like killing the generals one by one. So you hunt them down, you kill one of them, they re-kill you, you come back to life, then you fight like your mentor. You end up killing your brother / rival. You go down the list, you keep killing people. There's actually a cool moment where you find a girl who resembles your daughter, and
2 minutes remaining.
he basically tries to protect her the whole time. You don't find like a whole armada. It gets really cool. We're gonna get down to the very end, or not very end, but close to the end, where the last of the Goma are attacking. You basically meet up with maybe it is Yasha. I think Yasha, and you don't find him, but he ends up helping you. You fight Deus. Deus is like, "Well, now you're the one who can protect us." Whatever. So after Deus's death, there's actually DLC where the golden spider basically kills one of the last of their gods and reveals himself to be something like Chak Varatan or something like that. Basically, the creator of the Lord of Creation, and basically was like, "Yeah, so I'm basically gonna take all this mantra you've gathered up, and I'm going to destroy the world and recreate it. And if you do that, Mithra's gonna die." So Asura finally becomes a badass one more time, tries to fight Chak Varatan, can't do it. So his brother's like, "I'm gonna sacrifice myself, give my energy to you, Goku style, Vegeta style, to kill him." And Mithra's like, "Well, if you do that, you'll die." And he's like, "Yeah, I don't give a shit." Beats the shit out of him. Everybody's reincarnated 800, so it's like 800 million years or 900 million years later. Basically, in present day, there's a statue of Asura. He's like the Statue of Liberty type situation. And you see like them all living like their lives in these reincarnations. And at the very end, you see what would be Asura's reincarnation, watching a meteor come crashing down to the earth. And he clenches his fist like he's ready to fucking fight one more time. And I'm going to give up my time right there.
Look at you go.
All right. Piece of shit.
Josh gives up his time with 20
Which means I did
remaining.
Yeah,
Josh,
you did it like right.
Stop
you did it right. Like you got 30 points.
Yes, I got all 30 points.
I blame myself because I basically gave you those 30 points.
Jake, why would you do this? Hold on.
Well, but
I couldn't even name like half the gods though. You could have like literally named every single one. I would never have gotten it.
Well, it was no. It wasn't. It was all you named all the main characters. So you got Asura. You got his brother-in-law.
Okay, cool.
Daughter.
Okay,
you
sweet.
mentioned the emperor's death and his wife's death. You mentioned Deus, which is basically like the main guy. He was the one that basically killed everybody that you loved, whatever. You mentioned their planet, Gaia. What you didn't mention, which I thought was kind of funny while reading it, was the Brahmastra, the planet-sized super weapon.
I totally forgot about that.
Metal Gear.
You didn't say it was published by Capcom.
I mean, that's fair.
There's a Chun-Li cameo?
There's a
Yeah, there's a
Chun-Li
Chun-Li.
cameo where she's like
I
a
totally-
cop,
I forgot about that.
and then there's a DLC of a 2D fighting mode using the.
Oh, that's right. You can play the
god.
gods and fight each other. I totally forgot about that.
Yeah.
So Jake will have to Jake will have to read his love letter to the Resident Evil canceled Netflix series at the start of the show next week. Congrats on hitting 30, Josh. Exactly 30, and not a point
All
more.
I needed. That's all I needed.
That is the podcast definition of quiet quitting, Josh. We're gonna need more.
I had 20 seconds. I couldn't think of anything else.
But no,
Yeah,
good job.
I was like, he's not gonna mention the bottom four. I should have, like, honestly, I almost thought about changing it when the questions in the middle of it.
You almost like you want as the quiz master, as we're now calling it. You want to make it as hard as possible. Like you want.
It's my fault because I did it right before the podcast.
Yeah, it is your fault.
That's my saving grace. I will admit that much right
Okay.
now.
Because I could have been more creative. I don't know.
If you're listening and you want to see the final score, we will have that up in the show notes. Go ahead and click that link, and that'll take you right to where Josh scored his beautiful 30 points that kept him from having to host next week. Good job, Josh.
I think that saved the. I think I saved the podcast.
You
by doing
saved
that.
the podcast. As always, everyone, you can find me, Nick, at Twitter at That Kaufman. You can also find me on Twitch and YouTube at Nick Fat Night. Thought I've been exploring new things to post on my YouTube, so stay tuned. Jake, where can the people find you?
You can find me on Twitter, TikTok, YouTube, Twitch at Jakey Boy Kaufman.
Josh, where can the people find you?
Twitter at I am Josh Saying.
He is Josh Saying. And as always, you can find the show anywhere where there's social media. We're actually thinking about getting a website going, but keep that hush hush keep that down low. Yeah, show is everywhere. Every social media you can think of, you'll find us there. Again, we are part of the Trident Network. Go check out some of our sibling podcasts. Rate and review us on Apple, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts. 5 stars is much appreciated. And as always, this has been Smashing Game Time. We hope you had a smashing great time. We'll see you next time.